look at this right now. 531, it's had 29% bullish, only 29%. And look at the historicals. Okay, 1 year bullish high was 37.5% on February 8th, 2023. Let's refresh it. Wait for it, because it's June 8th, right? 44.5% of investors are now bullish, 31% neutral, and only 24% bearish. This is the highest it's been all year. And if markets traditionally trade counter to sentiment, then where are we going from here? What does this mean? That's what we're going to explore today. We can look at historical information here. More historical sentiment data. Here we go. Okay, look at this. So this is the bullish it's been in a year. You can see most of the time people have been, it hasn't only went over 33% one time. And the rest of the time people have been extremely bearish. Let's look at when we had our highest bear metric. 49% were bearish on March 22nd and also May 3rd. What about, there's really not that much information. I could download the complete historical data, but what about if we look at 44% on May 3rd? May 3rd was extreme bearishness. And what happened here on May 3rd? Nothing. We just kept going higher. That's it. As long as bearish sentiment was really high, and I've said this for weeks upon weeks, there was no way that the market could drop, even though people were super duper bearish. Even me, I was pretty bearish. I couldn't shake the bearishness, but the market was not going to drop until this number took off, because it's all about positioning. You need the majority of investors to get bullish, so you have someone to distribute to. Now let's look at what could be the catalyst for us finally rolling over. So if we expand this, we've got Friday, nothing big really. We do have unemployment claims that came out. So unemployment claims spiked. This is, oh, I didn't even see this yet. Wow. Okay. What have I been saying about unemployment? And for people that have been watching the past couple of weeks, we are over. The unemployment claim is up quite a bit, almost up 30,000. When was the last time this happened? We haven't had something where the unemployment claims were over 30 in a very long time. So this is not a good number at all. This is really bad. And I've been talking about that when unemployment claims start to rise, that's when you see the markets finally start to roll over. So maybe this is the beginning. We've got maximum bullish sentiment and we've got unemployment claims rising. So that's two things. Now we'll look at the technicals and see, okay, what's happening there. But let me check the news a little bit further. Let's go into next week. What do we have coming? And I'm sure Brian has touched on a couple of these things. We've got, oh, of course, we have CPI on Tuesday. Okay, so CPI. And is Powell talking at any point? Yep, FOMC, economic projections, statement, and funds rate. So we've got all these events and press conference on Thursday. All these events to potentially put a top in the market. Maybe on CPI, we get a CPI dump, or I'm sorry, a pump on CPI. And then Powell comes out the next day, FOMC, all that stuff. And the market just dumps when the Fed raises anyway. That's a potential scenario. Or everything just stays stagnant and we oscillate in these highs for a while before we finally roll over. Maybe we're just distributing. However, I think that this entire period here, all of this has been distribution. All of it from the lows down here, these lows. This has all been distribution, very slow distribution. However, if you look at this weekly chart, we do look very bullish. There's been no crossover yet. No real dump in RSI. I need to see that RSI move lower before I can really get super bearish. But the fact that the sentiment is looking the way it is makes me very, very cautious. You can see RSI is stuck kind of in this uptrend here, right? We haven't broken out either way. I'm in this diagonal. MACD is bullish. Stochastic is rolling over a little bit. Go to a daily chart. You're still in this nice uptrend. I want to see a rollover of this uptrend. Until that happens, I really can't get too crazy bullish. But we're stuck kind of in this uptrending channel. You see we've rejected off it multiple times. We're rallying today. To be fair, on a daily chart for my RSI strategy, this was a breakout right here. This was a breakout and there's no reason why this can't go higher. But as I showed you, we've got other conflicting information coming out that is not exactly positive. So purely from a technical perspective, it's not from an RSI. If I look at just RSI, it doesn't look terrible. There's plenty of momentum to keep pushing this higher, which is probably why, I mean, if you look at this daily, if a lot of investors use RSI, it's probably why they're so bullish. This was a big bullish push. The next step is only this resistance. We can push past this resistance. I mean, you've got nothing until 4,500 and you basically, it's just takeoff time. But this is exactly what the market needs, right? You need most people to be bullish in order for a bear event to happen. But this right here, this kind of breakout is normally my bullish setup. But seeing unemployment claims rise, and also something called, a lot of times people look at something called skew. You look at a weekly, it's very high. And oftentimes if skew gets too high, that's when you can also expect turns in the market. CBOE skew index, so the last time it was basically this high was back in August 2021, right? We've got August 2021 and December. So what happened there, right? So here's August 2021, right? So we topped, rolled over, and then December and January 2021, that was your other high, and we rolled over after that. I can actually overlay it here. Maybe that makes it easier. Skew. Let's apply it to this chart and look at the relationship here. You can see, can you guys see the inverse relationship right here? Is your divergence and then roll over. And then here's your next time you spike and then roll over, spike, and then roll over. And you can see when we have bottoming areas, we spike. And then the next one right here, this is a huge spike. We're coming into some resistance here. This is another kind of bearish signal for me. Is the fact that this skew is taking off so much. Okay, so that's skew. Let's go to a little bit lower time frame, daily chart. This is actually a bullish setup for me. However, investor sentiment being at all-time highs concerns me. RSI is not always right. You can look at MACD, what's going on with MACD, stochastic. Do we have any divergences forming? And we did have a breakdown the other day, which is starting to form a nice divergence in the 4-hour. However, we tagged this. We draw it like this, okay, and you've got MACD still bearish, stochastic bearish. Makes sense to have a rebound and a retest. It's a tough area. I don't feel too comfortable being long a lot of names up here, but the S&P weekly looks very bullish. So does the 3-day. I just don't like that investors are at a 1-year high for their bullish feelings. There's too much bullish emotion in the room. Okay, so that's the S&P. I don't really have a trade for it. I think you just need to be careful. We're at major resistance up here. Bullish sentiment is at all-time highs. The skew is signaling a warning. Liquidity is actually being drained out of the system right now. I think there's potential for this to turn into a train wreck. There's serious potential for this to turn into a complete train wreck. There's a couple traders that I follow that are very, very good. Most of them were bullish up until recently, and now their perspective is changing to bearishness, and they're pointing to a lot of different indicators I haven't even shown on here that are giving signals of a potential top. So I would be very careful.